today we are going to discuss about fruitful functions. So what in the fruitful functions we are going to discuss about return values, incremental development and nested functions. So what is meant by so as soon as return statement if we execute it, the function is going to be terminated. We already seen that. So without executing any subsequting statement. So once return is called in the function, if there are any statement, those statements will not be executed. So the code that appears after return statement, we are going to call it as a dead code. So for example, if you take look at this particular function, here I have statement 3, statement 4 and statement 5, statement 6. So this particular function is called from this particular program. So program is having statement 1, statement after that I am calling the function. So function is called, then automatically the function is going to be executed. So you of the function will execute, it automatically come to the program, and after that statement 7 and again after we call the function, again the function is going to call. After executing those all statements, again return to the original program. So like this over. If you are having a function with return, what is going to happen is, so see here. Now from the program I am calling the function. If I call the function, the first statement 3, statement 4 and return is going to executed. After return I am having here statement 5 and statement 6 are there. These statements are not going to execute. Why? Because these before these statements I have written, and then function will comes directly to the program without executing statement 5. So I am calling the statement 5 and 6 as dead code. Statement 5 and 6 I am calling it as a dead code. So like this the program is executed. So this particular code we are calling as a dead code. Next topic is incremental development. What is meant by incremental develop is, if you are having developed the larger functions, it's very difficult to debug. To deal with the complex programs, use increment. We have to use incremental development. So to avoid the longer debugging of the programs, we need to write a small amount of code at a time. So for example, see this particular concept. Suppose we need to find out the distance between two coordinates, 2 points, that is x1, y1 and x2, y2. Then for that we will, what is the formula we need to use is distance. How we can calculate is distance is equal to x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square, square root of. So by using this formula we can calculate. So for this, how we can develop a function, what is the how to build a logic, we will see. So what is incremental develop is, first we understood is we required a function, that name we name distance. So it has to take 4 parameters. So initially we are not computed anything, that's why I am returning the 0 0.0. That is the first step. And second step what we have decided is, so it has to take integers. So and then after that I made simple improvisation. So let us computing the difference. First of all, what is the formula? X2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus. First of all, we will calculate distance between the x point dx, and after that distance between the y points. So we have been calculated. Now after that we simply, so whether this particular statement is executed not, for that I am print dx is dx, dy is dy, the values are printed. So first, so this step is successfully done. Next we will go to the next step. What we have done here, now we are after based upon the distance we calculated, we are calculating their square. So how we are calculating? By using exponent operator. So dx exponent, so automatically square, dx square plus dy square. So we just printed that value. If that is all successfully executed, then we need again modification. So what is required? We need to calculate square root of d squared. So that square root. So finally I made a result. So this is called first. So this function is slowly developed from one step to the first step, second step, third step we made done modification, the fourth step we done. So this kind of a development is called as incremental model. This kind of development is called as the incremental mode. Why? Because if you straight away develop this much of a large portion of program single time, so to find out the errors very difficult. Slowly we have developed the program. So this model is called as the developing the function in this model is called as incremental model. So next small point is there, what is scaffolding. What is scaffolding is, so during the development we are using the different print statement, that is print dx dy, print dy dy. So like that we have used, and d square here we also used print d square also. So here we have used print d square also. So these all are removed in the original program. So this particular code we are going to will remove in the final product. So the particular statements are called as scaffolding. They're called as a scaffolding. So let's discuss the next topic, that is nested functions. So what is nested function is if you put one function in inside another function, that is called as a nested function. We already know that this ability is also, this concept is also called as composition. What is composition? You see this here. Here I have calculated the area of a circle. For that first time we need to, by using the distance method, I need to calculate radius. After radius is calculated, we will call another function area radius. And after finally we are going to return the result. Having this many two functions, what we are simply done is simply put that particular distance function inside the area. So now the distance function is inside the area function. So this is called a nested function. This is also called as composition. So what is composition? Having one function inside the another function is called as the composition. So next topic is Boolean functions. What is Boolean function is, if a function is returning the Boolean value like a true or false, it is called as the Boolean function. So for hiding complicated tests inside the, why we use Boolean function is for hiding the complicated test. So for example, see here I am performing simple whether x is divisible by y or not. For that, if x is divisible by y, it will automatically returns the value 0. So then what I am going to return, I am returning the true. So here I'm returning the boolean whether true or false. So these functions are called as a boolean functions. But these are one more possibility. This same function we can also write like this. Here we can write like return x mod y is equal to 0. If first of all what will happen, expression is going to evaluate it, that the result will be, so if it is satisfied true, return. If it not satisfied false, so that value will be returned. Even this particular function is simply decremented in this particular fashion also. If is divisible x comma y is equal to, so what happens is in the if statement we return this particular function, so the function is going to call and it is transferred here, that is verified. It returns the true is equal to true, then automatically we print x is divisible by y is going to print. If you false, the statement will not be executed. So like this we can write the Boolean functions in the Python programming language. So next topic is more on the recursion. What is this more on the recursion is, how we can write the factorial program is simply we written, I already shown how to write a factorial program. But so for example, now I have this kind of factorial program. Now what I have for, so for this particular factorial program, if I draw a stack diagram, how it look like is like this. Now one function is calling itself, whatever the result of one function is automatically transferred to the another function. First initially n greater than 0, and n greater than 0 what I am doing, I am returning 1. That's why 1 is transferred to the n, this particular function. Again here uh, 1 is if n is equal to 1, so that 1 is again transferred to the this particular. So like this the values are automatically transferred. 1 into 1 is 1, that's why again transferred. Now 2 into 1 2, and here 2 into 3 is 6, and finally so like this the values will be transferred. So this is the stack diagram for the recursive function. So now what is the drawback with this particular for example uh, now let us look at with the recursion. We can also solve the Fibonacci program. So what is the Fibonacci program we are written is? Fibonacci program what? 0, 1, 1. So 1, 1, 2. So like the 2, 1. So like that the series will be go on. So that kind of Fibonacci program I have been developed by using recursion. But this particular any program, whether Fibonacci or factorial, if I pass the value 1.5, what is going to happen? So then automatically program will execute, but you get a runtime error called as the maximum recursion depth is exceeded. Why it is? Here we entered the fraction point. We cannot calculate the factorial for the fraction point. It is only possible for the normal decimal values only. So this kind of problem. Why? But what is the problem we are having? We are not verifying whether it is a what kind of value. For that, what we are doing is here we are using a separate method called as isInstance. So we are using a separate method called as the isInstance method. It is going to be, so what I am doing is, it is first the n value, before calculating factorial I am verifying some condition. So isInstance method, what I'm isInstance n comma int. So if n is int, if n is an integer value, it is going to return the true. Otherwise, it is returns the false. So then automatically here it is going to print factorial is only defined for the integers. So then the output is going to return none. If n, so again, if n is a numerical value, integer, but n may be also negative values we cannot calculate. That's why I'm with the help of elif also verifying, that is n less than 0, n less than 0. So when negative values are also verified, if it is not a string, so if it is a string, it will not execute. If n value is negative also, it is not going to execute. If n is a true positive value, decimal value, then the factor. So here the whatever before calculating factorial, the values are verified with the help of the method called as isInstance. So by this we have completed this particular part. Thank you very much.